So, Jai Hind everyone. A very warm good morning to everyone present here today. As I welcome you all for this amazing and insightful seminar named Gender Sensitization. I am Pratham Vagri, your host for this seminar. In a world that is constantly evolving, we need to keep up the pace with the changing dynamics of our society. Gender sensitization is not about a buzzword. It is an imperative that affects us all. This webinar sheds light on the significance of gender sensitization, its role in building a more equitable world, and how each one of us can contribute to this transformative journey. As we embark on this transformative journey, let me share a thought provoking quote with you. Gender equality is not a women's issue, it's about the human rights issue. It affects us all. It's about embracing diversity and recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every individual. This quote reminds us that gender sensitization is not about favoring one gender over another, but recognizing the and res- inherent dignity irrespective of their gender. It's about creating a world where everyone can thrive regardless of the roles that society has prescribed for them. Now, I would request the technical team and all of you to please rise up for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे उठे समाज के लिए उठे उठे जगे स्वराष्ट्र के लिए जगे जगे स्वयं सजेव सुंदरा सवार दे स्वयं सजेव सुंदरा सवार दे साथियों हम बड़े तो सब बढ़ेंगे अपने आप साथियों वसुंधरा संवार दे। समर्थवान वृद्ध और नारियां रहे सदा, भरे भरे बनों की शान ओढ़ती रहे धरा। तरक्कियों की एक नई कतार दे, तरक्कियों की एक नई कतार दे। स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा संवार दे, स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा संवार दे। ये जाति धर्म बोलियां बने न शूल राह की, बढ़ाए बेल प्रेम की अखंडता की चाह की। सद्भावना से ये चमन निखार दे, सद्भावना से ये चमन निखार दे। स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा संवार दे, स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा संवार दे।
Thank you, everyone. Now, I humbly request our beloved principal, Dr. Anita Kanwar ma'am, to address the virtual gathering. Okay, okay. I'd like to request our program officer, Dr. Vikas Ware sir, to kindly share his noble thoughts.
Jai Hind. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Um, as we have all gathered here, we have kept this as a district level webinar on the gender sensitization, in which Mr. Trivedi is going to enlighten you in the various aspects of this. Looking at this matter seriously, we all are aware for the safety of women, to empower women, we have so many laws and rules already existing in our country. Despite all this, we can see that women are not moving on the street fearlessly, and for that, not the rules and laws, but what I feel, the behavioral change in every human being is to be brought in. Of course, our beloved guest, Mr. Trivedi, will take you into the tour of how we can bring this change in you. So I will not take much time of you, but I request all the participants, all volunteers of the district to sincerely listen to this talk and inculcate the values regarding the women empowerment and gender sensitization. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for those instructions. Now, I would like to call upon our beloved principal, Dr. Anita Kanwar ma'am, to address the virtual gathering.
Thank you, Pratham and Vare sir. At the outset, let me welcome our guest, Mr. Trivedi, who is going to talk about the gender sensitization um, to the NSS team and members of Vivekanand Education Society's College of Arts, Science and Commerce. Sir, we thank you for coming online and addressing our students and sensitizing them about the gender issues. Mostly, whenever we talk about gender, we talk about the women who are suffering from this type of issue. But I would like to highlight here that it is respect which is very important. So, whether it is a man or a woman, boy or a girl, whatever, we have to respect the individual. Everybody's equality and gender is important. And if we are able to do that, then only the whole society will become responsible towards the human being. And once they are responsible and they understand that how they can respect each other, they can respect their ideas, then only the society will flourish. So, with these words, I really thank NSS committee that they have taken this initiative of organizing such a talk with eminent speaker like Mr. Trivedi. So, once again, thank you to NSS PO as well as NSS committee members. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your noble thoughts. Now, I take immense pleasure to call upon our guest speaker for today's webinar, Mr. Pranav Trivedi, who is a social worker, currently a full-time facilitator at the Gender Lab, where he takes sessions on gender stereotypes and masculinity. He is the president of an animal welfare organization called Citizens Animal Organization Foundation. He is also an Honorable Welfare Board of India and a law graduate. Well, his achievements are immense, for which the time of this webinar might definitely fall short of. So, without making further delay, I'd like to hand over the mic to Mr. Pranav Trivedi, sir, and would request you to please enlighten us with your knowledge.
Thank you so much, Pratham. First and foremost, if the team could share the presentation of mine, which I've sent across, that would be great. I see a lot of comments coming in, and I appreciate everyone who's joined in today. And it's really good to see a lot of people who have come here and discuss about this topic. It's so crucial that we start talking about this, and it is so important, right? And so yeah, just waiting for the presentation to be shared. Once that is done, okay. So when I was approached for this topic, and Joe, I'll try to mix English and Hindi so that it's easier for everyone, and it's easier for me as well to talk in both languages. तो जब मेरे को अप्रोच किया था, आई वाज टोल्ड टू टॉक अबाउट the dignity of women. Before that, let's just highlight the first important fact. It's that let's just first. I know there's a lot of things that I want to talk about later, but let's start with how what we know, and let's talk about women first. What do I want to talk about? It's everything that I've mentioned on my slide. It's all about equality. It's all about the support that we're able to provide each other as individuals, not just talking about identities. It's about empowering each other. It's about creating that power for each other. It's about that unity, and it's all about creating that boss babe. And it's all about that. And let's talk about this today. And please feel free to share any comments or questions during the presentation as well. I would love to take those questions. Most importantly, I would like to share a quote at the start. Is the day and this quote is very famous by Mahatma Gandhi ji, that the day a woman can walk freely on the roads at night is the day that we can say that India has achieved independence. It's been 75 years, and still a lot of aspects in our daily lives, whether it be biological or sociological, has been deep rooted, and the safety has been a huge concern overall. So I would like to start with women and safety. But before I proceed ahead, I would like to show a video that perfectly showcases this aspect. And I would like to ask the team to share that first video.
Bye bye. Bye.
ये शाम मस्तानी मदहोश किए जाए मुझे डोर कोई खींचे तेरी ओर लिए जाए दूर रहती है क्यों मेरे पास आती नहीं इन गलियों से तेरी मुलाकात होती नहीं डर से नहीं दिल से सही तेरे कदम पैगाम दिए जाए ये शाम मस्तानी मदहोश किए जाए मुझे डोर कोई खींचे तेरी ओर लिए जाए तेरी ओर लिए जाए तेरी ओर लिए जाए
Thank you so much. So there are a lot of aspects that covers in this video that is being covered. Can we go to the next slide? And most importantly, the pretense is all about safety. But to talk about that, what is safety and क्यों safety or when it comes to different identities इतना important है और क्यों safe feel करना बहुत जरूरी है हर इंसान के लिए. Why is it so important that every individual would like to feel safe in this country? It is so important, right? To be able to do anything you want, to be able to walk at any time that you want, to be able to do things that you really want to do, be whoever you wish to be. So just talking about that, when it comes to numbers in our country, it's always been very horrifying for me to share. uh, One major aspect that was shared by the NCRB, uh, So the National Crime Records Bureau, as we call it. So it is very important to understand. In 2011, there were about 22, 2,28,650 cases reported when it came to harassment or sexual assault cases in India, which is a huge number, right? But imagine that is probably, as per statistics, barely even 5%, because a lot of these cases do not get reported and do not reach even till the point where it is reaching the police station. A lot of this is, once you wonder कि क्यों क्यों रिपोर्ट नहीं किया जाता, क्यों नहीं बता पाते, a lot of it has to do with how our system is. Our system is structured in a way कि it always creates a setup जहाँ पे it is difficult for the victim to be able to open up, or to be or pressurized so much into sharing that same incident again and again. Now we have to understand that every whatever happens with us has an impact with us psychologically also. Mentally हम पे असर पड़ता है. Whatever has happened, no matter how small or how big, it is very important to understand that these things impact us psychologically. And these are the major deterrents. I would like to share one experience that was shared by a friend of mine. And so the idea was that they explained to me how exactly, like these are multiple friends who have told me how things have happened with them, and it has been difficult for them to go to the police station and explain to them what happened and how this should go ahead and how they should receive the justice. Because even after going to the police station, you have to repeat that experience again to the people without having to stop or without having to hesitate, because that hesitation is considered as a doubt. On the other hand, the hesitation might as well be the aspect कि आप हिचकिचा रहे हो वो याद भी करने. And that fear, that helplessness is so sad, right? And it is so difficult for people to realize that it is a difficult thing to remember any experience that you have had. Even after that, even after you go through that on the police station, it goes to the court, because any sort of penalizing judgment can be passed by the court only. So, and as you know, court records, a lot of cases remain pending and it takes a long time. And after going multiple times, repeating the same situation again and again, most likely scenario is due to some issues or some ways where the evidence is tampered, or the witnesses are paid off, you may not get justice. So why? So the question remains that why should anyone go through that process in the first place, right? That is the one major aspect. That, and how do we change this? One is very important, that we have to understand that the structure has to change, but the structure can only change when our minds change. A lot of these aspects start from citizens. Citizens movement is absolutely critical, and understanding that once we change our psychological thought कि हम उनको ये नहीं सोचेंगे कि अरे इन्होंने ये किया रहेगा तो इसके लिए ऐसे हुआ, rather than talking about what has happened with the victim and how it would have happened with the victim. Let's talk about how we can change to the perspective that how do we ensure this does not happen. कहाँ हम रोक सकते हैं, कहाँ हम सोच सकते हैं कि ये बदलाव किधर से लेके आए. How do we bring that thought and the process changed, where we think about how to help the victim instead, how to help the individual. I apologize for calling it victim, because that is also not right. I must call them as individuals. That is where the mindset has to change. We must call them as equals, as with respect. Don't call them in any other way. Call them as fellow individuals who have been through something, and respect them and understand that that is also as important. A lot of these laws have to change, of course. A lot of this procedure, when it comes to the CRPC or in terms of the IPC penalizing as well, has to change because there's not enough procedure that is quicker, and that is why we must proceed ahead with ensuring that we change our perspectives, change our language, and also change our thoughts to be able to work towards changing the laws. So this is what I wanted to share about safety, as well as talking about understanding the current situation at hand on ground. But let's proceed ahead. Let's go to the next slide and understand various other perspectives. What do we talk about? When it comes to women in particular, a lot of the conversations surround women, or whether it be through career and care. So first, let's talk about career. And there's a video that just hold on a second. I think let's talk about both together. Let's look at two videos now. One is about career and the other is about care. So if we could share firstly the second video about career, and then we can go ahead with the conversation.
हाउस देंगे मेरा मतलब अच्छा सुन तुझे कितने मिले
78 मैकेनिक्स में कितना मिला तुझे
89 मैं सेट हूँ
इनफ यार बस करो ये इंजीनियरिंग टॉक्स
क्यों भाई, क्या चल रहा है भाई बहनों में? हाँ?
बस यूजुअल फूफा जी आप बताइए कैसे हैं आप
सब बढ़िया बेटे, बढ़िया। क्यों श्याम बाबू, पढ़ाई पढ़ाई कैसी चल रही तुम्हारी?
बस बढ़िया फूफा जी पिछले सेमेस्टर्स तो काफी अच्छे रहे अब फाइनल्स के रिजल्ट का इंतजार हो रहा है अब मार्क्स अच्छे तो फिर कुछ टॉप यूनिवर्सिटीज में मास्टर्स के लिए अप्लाई कर दूंगा फिलहाल तो यही प्लान
अच्छा प्लान है, अच्छा प्लान है। लेकिन बेटा इतना पढ़ लिख कर करोगे क्या? आगे चलकर सेटल होकर घर ही तो संभालना है तुमने।
और लगाना हमें भी लगता है
Very interesting, right? In terms of perspectives of career around women is perceived so differently when it as comparison to any man for that matter. But let's not talk just about women. Any other individual other than who's a man, their careers are looked at so differently. And you saw in the video how just a slight change in terms of who the question is asked ki पर बड़े होकर क्या करना है, आगे जाके तो घर ही तो संभालना है, ये थॉट क्यों पूछा जाता है, क्यों? एंड व्हाई डू वी हैव टू आस्क दैट? बिकॉज one second, I think so why do we have to ask that? Why do we have to think about the fact that is it just women who have to take care of home? Is it when it comes to a family where two individuals marry each other, is it just one individual who has to share the load of the entire house? Is it just one individual who has to focus on the career? I mean, it's a choice, right? At the end, we have to understand that career has always been a choice for every individual, and it should be that way, no matter what sort of career they choose. And one major aspect in India, especially, we have to understand is the shaming and the thoughts that come with that shaming, and the comments that are passed, the opinions that are shared. And it's so important to talk about this and to have this conversation that why why should we ask this question to women? Why should we ask this question of how do you balance everything out? Every individual comes together to balance it out, no matter if they are in that in a marriage, or whether they are individuals living in, individually. And no matter how it is important that we understand that this caring for each other comes together and not just on one person. And just speaking of care, I would also like to share one more video, and I know there's a lot of videos, but I think it explains really well what I'm trying to share here when it comes to care work and how it is shared. So let's see the third video right now.
अरे इतनी जल्दी उठ गई जा ब्रश कर बेटा you have to finish your breakfast. Very nice. Finish this, okay? Toast.
थैंक यू
क्या बनाया?
मेरे स्विमिंग पूल से
मेरा भी तो बड़ा है।
ओह हाँ आपकी कितनी फ्लोर की है 1 2
Dinner finished. Story time.
कौन सी स्टोरी सुनोगी आज
इसकी फेवरेट बर्फ वाली.
बर्फ वाली
The cobbler made shoes. The
मम्मी पापा
निधि
Thank you. So let's go to the next slide. Hi. So yeah, very powerful video, and especially to understand कि हमारे घर पे सारे काम कौन करता है. कभी सोचा है, कभी ध्यान दिया है, कभी ऐसे देखा है कि let's list down all the work that is done at house. So जो भी काम आपको संभालने के लिए हो, जो भी काम आपकी देखभाल के लिए हो, whatever work that is there to take care of you, all of these are called care work. ख्याल के काम. अभी ख्याल के काम मतलब किसी को संभालना, किसी की देखभाल करना, किसी की चिंता करना, देखभाल के काम. और जब वो घर पे अपने परिवार वाले, कोई अपना परिवार वाला करे जो बिना पैसे या बिना कोई कुछ मांगे करे, उसको अवैतनिक ख्याल के काम बोलते हैं, यानी कि अनपेड केयर वर्क. एंड care work can be seen in all of our households, and it particularly brings out this patriarchal setup that we've had for ages, where we don't realize the responsibility that has been put up of taking care of whether it be the dishes at home, whether it be washing the clothes, whether it be झाड़ू लगाना, whether it be बर्तन साफ करना, whether it be बेड ठीक करना, अलग अलग चीजें, all of these works, it may sound simple, but it is not. And we have to understand कि especially I realized a few years back that how much my mom does for the entire family, and that much sort of heavy load to be put up on one person is huge. And why should it be only a responsibility? Do you think it's a responsibility of women, only women, कि लड़कों का काम थोड़ी होता है घर का काम करना, ऐसे होता है? I don't think so, and I definitely would strongly disagree with that. And this is because you're also there, part of the home. Every individual who's there in your family is part of your home, so it becomes the responsibility of each and every individual of your family. It is not about one person taking the responsibility, it's about everyone sharing with each other that load. As you saw in the video, that individual was working, then finishing up all the office work, and then getting back home, and then finishing up housework as well, and then going back to sleep, then getting up again late night to just finish off the rest of the housework that was pending. That's such a huge burden, and that causes a lot of health issues as well eventually. But most importantly, it's the men who don't realize that how less of a share that they've had in terms of responsibility of keeping the house going. They say that, oh, but hum to bahar jaake kaam karte. But why can't women have that choice as well? Why can't other individuals have that choice as well? And beyond that, whenever both the individuals are working, why is it just one individual working at home as well? So all of these things have to be questioned. All of these things have to be thought about. All of these things have to be understood, where we can bring together a change only when we understand that what change can we bring at home. So one activity that I would like everyone to do at home is list down all the housework that is there. जो भी घर के काम आपको दिखते हैं, आप सुबह से उठकर रात को सोने तक, whatever housework that you see, just put it down on a list and see who does it. Majority of us will have the women of our house doing this work, and it is time that we change that and create our own chart where how do we divide this equally, how do we ensure that this happens. Connecting to that is all about career. A lot of places it is very difficult, although in our rights it is said that the right to equal pay is present to all individuals regardless of who they are. Do you think women get equal pay? I don't. And we have to understand that there has always been a compromise, or just thinking ki, how do I ensure that we take care of home as well as the career, what is the future, when, and the question of when they get pregnant, what then? Why do we have to conform to these norms? Why do we have to stop at this? Why do we have to think about this to be able to separately understand that their career is equally important to anything else if they want to? It is always a choice, and every individual deserves that choice. Women deserve that choice. Women have that choice. We are no one to uh, allow, we are no one to give that choice as well. It is not upon us, it is upon them to decide what they want to do and what they don't want to do. It's completely okay to do anything that they want, be anyone they want to be, where, work wherever they want, and work whenever they want. It is very important that regardless of time, space, everything, it is equally important to understand that women have a choice and deserve a choice each and everywhere. So this is all about women, career, and care. So moving before moving forward, there's a very interesting video. That there are few interesting videos that I will be sharing. But first and foremost, we'll share the fourth video to talk about individuals and identities. We'll jump into individuals and identities and talk about why are we speaking so much about just women or talking about women. So let's look at the fourth video. So let's go to the next slide, and then I'll begin with this question. Um, when we talk about women, when we talk about women's safety, a lot of it becomes very binary, right? It becomes very much talking about men and women. But what is it just about biology? Is it just about people who have been born as women? Is it just that? This video is very beautiful because a lot of people or a lot of individuals start questioning their identity, start understanding, are they who they are in terms of physical appearance? Do they connect with it? Maybe they don't. And this is where a lot of identities come in. But my question to everyone here in this live event is, do you think sex and gender are the same? And I would like to see answers here in these comments. That would be great. But do you think gender and sex are the same? And it's okay. If not, and if no one's willing to answer, that's completely all right, because we don't want to force anyone to answer as well. That's great. That's great. Thank you for sharing, and I appreciate this. And that's exactly what I wanted to share. And it is very important to understand that we whatever we are biologically, we may not conform to those identities as we grow up. A lot of it has to do with what we look around, because when we are born, जब डॉक्टर बोलते हैं कि लड़का हुआ या लड़की हुई, या when a person is born as intersex, these are the three identities when it comes to biological construct. But what is social construct then? Social construct, or gender as we call it, is all about us understanding our own identity. When we grow up, as we grow up, we for me it was कि हाँ मैं लड़का हूँ, but not everyone may be able to identify similarly. Everyone could start questioning कि यार क्यों, ऐसे क्यों, मुझे ये नहीं पसंद, मुझे ऐसे नहीं रहना, मैं ऐसा नहीं देखना चाहता हूँ खुद को, या मैं ऐसा नहीं समझता हूँ खुद को. And all of these identities matter as equally. It is not just understanding that we're being born as women, but also understanding that all of these identities face a rather severe issue when it comes to safety, when it comes to choice of careers, when it comes to their own identities, when it comes to people respecting these identities. That is where a lot of aspects where in India in particular, we have, it has been always difficult to see people respecting these identities as well. Now, these identities could come from individuals' personalities or identities जहाँ पे लोग born हुए हो as a male in the video as they showed, but they do not conform to it, and for them they identify themselves as not a male, and that's where a lot of different identities, whether it be transgenders or transgenders or any other identities that are present around us, each and every one of them matter. And to understand more of such an identity and how maybe an acceptance, because beyond trying to change things, first is each and every individual here could pledge to themselves to that no matter who any individual is around you, you don't have to judge them. You don't have to tell them कि ऐसे क्या कर रहा है, ऐसे थोड़ी करते हैं. And yeah, sure. So the last video was an individual who did not conform to their biological identity of a male, and they wanted to change their identity. And these transformative surgeries are present when you grow into an adult, and once you're grown into an adult, you have that choice of getting that and wanting to change your identity, and that is what that person did. And despite wanting to do that, and despite every challenge that that person may have faced because of society, there was a support system there. There was a family who was ready to accept, who was there for that person no matter what. Now if you see, I did not say anything about the person's gender or sex because they have not mentioned it, right? They have not told us. So why do we have to assume? The most important thing is not to assume anyone's identity based on how they look. This is what the media, this is what a lot of things around us tell us कि हम देखते हैं कि लड़के थोड़ी नेल पॉलिश पहन सकते हैं, लड़कियां थोड़ी पैंट शर्ट पहन सकती है. बेसिक चीजें जो सोसाइटी कभी कभार बताती है indirectly or directly in a lot of spaces. Why do we have to conform to them? We shouldn't assume based on their identities, biological identities, that this is only for them. Which comes to my presentation also. A lot of people may not have realized that people saw that why pink? I should have done a different color, right? Why do we have to conform that only a specific color? Why do we have to gender a particular color? Why do we have to gender a lot of things? There are a lot of individuals out there who are working towards showcasing their likes, their personalities, their individual things that matter to them. जो चीजें उनको पसंद आती है वो कर रहे हैं, और उनको कोई रोक नहीं सकता. That is more important. That is what the video is trying to explain, that no matter who you are, no one should judge you, no one should share an opinion on you, that these all of these identities and on all of these identities, and no one should say anything about that change as well. It's your change and you deserve it, and you can be whoever you want to be. And with that, let's look at one more video which will maybe explain a bit better in terms of these identities and how maybe one way of celebrating it, because I won't conform to it being the only way, because every identity matters. So let's look at the fifth video, please.
रितु आंटी, प्रीति आंटी, सुषमा आंटी और रेनू आंटी, सबके देकर आओ और किसी किसी को कुछ नहीं बताना, ओके? Lovely. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, ma'am.
अरे रेनू, आना है पक्का, ओके?
दीदी ये है क्या?
अरे लिखा तो है कार्ड में।
आपकी बेटी
पहली बार घर आ रही है। परवर छोड़, अंदर और काम देख थोड़ा।
दीदी ये हो क्या रहा है?
रेनू तू सिर्फ काम देख, कोई कमी नहीं रहनी चाहिए बस। पर रोहन, आंटी के लिए कोल्ड ड्रिंक ले आओ जल्दी।
ये वुमेन्स डे पे इतनी तैयारियां कौन करता है?
अरे रेनू तुम अभी तक तैयार नहीं हुई? जल्दी करो बाबा, वो आने वाली है। लाइट्स ऑफ कर दो।
ये तो विक्रम की गाड़ी है।
विक्रम नहीं, वैशाली की है।
मामा ये सब करने की क्या जरूरत थी?
अरे मेरी बेटी का पहला विमेंस डे है, तो सभी दोस्तों के साथ खुशी बांटनी तो बनती है ना। ये है वैशाली, मेरी बेटी। कुछ देर पहले तक आप इसको विक्रम के नाम से जानते थे।
नमस्ते मासी।
बेटियां पैर नहीं छूती, गले मिलती हैं। हैप्पी विमेंस डे बेटा।
थैंक यू मासी।
यू आर वेलकम बेटा, वेलकम।
Awesome. This video, especially, there were two things that I felt needs to be talked about. First is to understand that I did not agree to one fact that we should not assume the identity. It is possible that through this video, we may have assumed that the identity that the person wishes to keep is as a woman. So that was very clear. But in other aspects, it is very important that we first ask about the identity rather than assuming it. And it was something beautiful though. But the second thing, to be able to celebrate your individuality and talk about that is so beautiful, right? And it all starts at home. And once we start understanding and accepting that all of these individual identities matter, no matter who it is, it could be someone in your family who's still hesitant to accept their own identity because of how society looks at that person, because of thinking log kya kahenge. And all of these things really matter when we talk about different identities being accepted. And there will be a lot of counter comments, there'll be a lot of hate also passing where कि यार ऐसे थोड़ी होता है, उनका सिर्फ साइकोलॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है. ये that kind of mentality is a block. It is not them talking about someone else. It's just them talking about their own insecurities. And the only thing that can change this, it's not about me saying to them in a very defensive manner, It is about all about creating love, and there are a lot of individuals online where they've spoken about their own identities freely. You can always look at them and go search about them, and these identities are just beautiful, and it's just very important to understand all of these identities really matter, and we can always bring a change to respecting every individual by starting at home, and that is where it all begins. All of these videos, the only reason I conform to videos is because they connect and showcase what we really want in our society, and to be able to do that through videos is much more easier than just me saying कि हम ये करना चाहिए and हमें वो करना चाहिए, but instead showcasing how beautiful it could look in a society if we accepted everyone. And with that, we move to the next slide and understand how do we change these things on a micro as well as a macro level. First is to start at home and breaking this patriarchal system, and to understand that when it comes to a man and a woman, which is heteronormativity as we call it, is it just that do marriages have to limit themselves to just that, or the idea of marriage or people being together or being in love together no matter who they are isn't that better? So, just talking about that aspect, one last video that I would like to share, uh, which talks about this very aspect of breaking that patriarchal system. So, if you could share the last video, please.
मम्मी नाराज तो होने ही वाली। वो तो चाहती कि मैं डॉक्टर ही बनूं। इसने हॉलीडेज खत्म और बोर्डिंग स्कूल शुरू। एक दिन भी एक्स्ट्रा रुकने नहीं दिया। मम्मी भी ना। मम्मी ने अपनी लाइफ अपने आप ही बनाई। 18 साल की थी जब उनके फादर ने उन्हें घर से निकाल दिया। अकेले रहने का तो सोचने से भी डर लगता है। मैंने अपने पापा को कभी देखा नहीं, और मेरी असली माँ वो बहुत बीमार रहती थी। उनके बारे में सिर्फ एक ही दिन याद है जो मैं कभी भुला नहीं पाती। एक दिन कुछ लोग आए और उन्हें एम्बुलेंस में ले गए। फिर वो कभी वापस ही नहीं आई। फिर एक दिन मम्मी आई। बहुत प्यार से मुझे अपनी गोद में बिठाया और मुझे अपने घर ले गई। तबीयत खराब थी तो पूरी रात मेरे साथ बैठी रही। सुबह मम्मी ने एक सुंदर सी रेड फ्रॉक पहनाई, मेरे लिए ढेर सारे चिप्स बनाए। मम्मी के साथ 10 साल हो गए। अब तो मम्मी कम और दोस्त ज़्यादा बन गई। संडे हम दोनों का फेवरेट दिन है। बालों में तेल लगाने के बाद दोपहर में मेरा फेवरेट लंच कड़ी चावल, और रात में हॉरर फिल्म। डर लगता है, पर मम्मी होती है ना तो नहीं लगता। ये है मेरी मम्मी, है ना प्यारी? मम्मी ने लाइफ में इतने प्रॉब्लम्स देखे, कितना कुछ सहा है, पर फिर भी उन्होंने हमेशा मेरा ख्याल रखा है। सिविक्स बुक में तो लिखा है कि सबके लिए बेसिक राइट सेम होते हैं, फिर मम्मी को क्यों नहीं है? इसलिए मैं डॉक्टर नहीं, लॉयर बनूंगी, मेरी मम्मी के लिए।
Yeah. Most importantly, here it's all about, firstly, anyone who wishes to be a parent can be a parent. Anyone who wishes to marry can marry. And all of these things can happen when we have more individuals who understanding that all of these individuals of different identities being part of governance will help us to create a better world, because हम घर पे तो बदलेंगे, but also creating a presence where काफी जगह अगर हम अलग अलग आइडेंटिटीज को अपनाएं और उनको डिसीजन मेकिंग में ऐड करें. फॉर एग्जांपल, लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द मोस्ट simple and basic one in terms of binary approach, where having more representation for women, having more representation for women in decision making roles, having more representation of women in places where it is important and where things can change drastically, having a chief justice who's of a different identity, maybe in the Supreme Court, having one of the major majority seats in terms of the government in Lok Sabha or even in the Rajya Sabha, having majority of them as different identities, maybe. All of these things. And all of these things are connected. Nothing is apolitical. You have to understand everything is political, and you have to understand that everything is connected. And the decisions can be made only when more people of different identities become a part of that government. And once that happens, then we'll have more decisions by women and other identities, and understand that what do you want to do, what is it that you want to change, and what is it that you want to bring forth. And most importantly, it is all about bringing those rights, as much as we have those rights, getting those rights for everyone else, getting those rights for every individual out there. That is there, but it can only start when individuals start understanding each other at home. And it is very important that we understand each other's identities and respect those identities at home. Only then we'll be able to bring those changes in governance as well. Once we have those governance changes, then we'll be able to get decisions where everyone has the right to marry to any other individual. And that case that is ongoing, and where there are various comments coming out that why should people marry, this is not right, all of these things. Do you think that it's right to say that? Do you think it's good to say that? Why don't they have equal rights as us, just because we are heteronormative, and we conform to heteronormative ideas, which is straight ideas, as in the slang language as we call it? Why do we have to limit ourselves to that? Every individual has the right to marry, every individual has the right to have land, every individual has the right to each and every aspect of society, no matter who they are, no matter where they come from, no matter what they believe on what in they are as individuals. And I'm glad to see a lot of comments, and I'm glad to see a lot of aspects. So moving on to the next slide, and just want to conclude in the end that whether it be about safety of individuals, whether it be creating better laws, whether it be about choice of career, whether it be about care, whether it be about who women are, whether it be about representation, everything comes together for the dignity of women and dignity of individuals. Every individual is beautiful, absolutely. Thank you so much for writing in the comments. And every individual is amazing, no matter who they are. And every individual is there and has and deserves to be there, and deserves to do whatever they wish to. And I would like to conclude with the next slide, is that one major thing that I want to say, that each and every individual that is watching this, you are amazing, no matter who you are in every single way. And let no one tell you anything different. Your identity matters no matter who you are. And I'm glad that I was able to share this presentation and share my thoughts with you. And I would like to thank the team as well to be able to share this uh, presentation on this day. And thank you so much. I'll conclude with that.
So thank you so much, Pranav sir, for this insightful and wonderful session. This was a mind opener, and you created a sense of equality, each one who is watching this, and also a sense of self love for ourselves, for who we are. So, yes, I'd like to express heartfelt gratitude. And now I would request all the participants who have joined this live event to kindly fill the feedback form, which will be posted in the chat box. And for moving further, I'd request NSS committee member Nitin sir to express the formal vote of gratitude.
Yeah. Thank you, Pratham. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you
Am
are
I
audible.
Thank you, Pratham. Jai Hind, everyone. It is immense pleasure for me to deliver this vote of thanks of such a tremendous session. At first, I would like to thank our honorable principal, Dr. Anita Kanwar ma'am, for guiding and encouraging us to conduct such kind of events and sessions. Thank you, ma'am, for your guidance and support. We are having another supporting pillar, who is none other than our vice principal, Dr. Shanti Nair. Thank you very much, ma'am, for guiding our students and showing your active involvement in all our activities. Further, I would like to thank Mr. Nikhil Karkhane, sir, NSS District Coordinator, for being with us and guiding us. My friends, there is a need to channelize the energy of youngsters in a right direction. And I must say that our both program officers, Professor Vikas Ware sir and Dr. Vaishnavi Bagul ma'am, are continuously doing it. All our volunteers are highly devoted toward the social work and all the activities because of both of them. I thank both of them for all kind of dedication they are showing. The knowledge of any person flows with the words spoken by that person, and we have just experienced that. Our speaker, Mr. Pranav Trivedi, have shown us the tremendous way of looking towards all the genders. The kind of insights which he have shown in throughout the session are definitely working as an eye opener for all of us. On behalf of Vivekananda Educational Society's College of Arts, Science and Commerce, I deeply express my gratitudes to Mr. Trivedi sir. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your time to share your insights with us. I would like to extend my
Thank you so much.
gratitudes to our technical team, which is led by Mr. Shashank Joshi, without whom it was not possible to make this event successful. And the last but not the least, all the NSS committee members and NSS volunteers of Vivekananda Educational Society's Arts, Science and Commerce College. I would like to thank you all and rest all the participants. It was not possible to make this event without your successful without your participation. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you so much, sir, and really appreciate that I was invited here to have this session. And I would like to thank the entire team who invited me for this, and I really appreciate this, especially Deepthi and Thomas who have been in touch with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Further, over to you, Pratham.
Uh, I'd once again like to request all the participation for this live event to kindly fill up the feedback form which is being posted in the chat box. It's a humble request. Kindly do the needful. And thank you so much for attending today's live event.